$9 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,357. Antiwar.com reports that Senate officials are hoping to get to a final vote on the National Defense Authorization Act, a military spending bill in excess of $700 billion. Getting to that vote, however, means dealing with all the military and war-related amendments to the bill. Senate leaders appear to have decided that the easiest way to get around this is to severely curtail debate on certain particularly controversial issues, with an 89-3 vote on Monday agreeing to limit procedural debate on the matter. Senator John McCain is trying to manage the debate, which is to say dramatically curtail the debate. There are still major issues to be settled, however, with Senators Rand Paul of Kentucky and Kirsten Gillibrand of New York both pushing major debates on war authorization and transgender soldiers, respectively. Senator Paul intends to repeal the 2001 authorization for the use of military force. That amendment is seen as politically awkward for some of the hawks, who argue that they want to create a new AUMF that explicitly covers current wars, but who are reluctant to see any limitations placed on the way America's wars are waged. That's the 2001 AUMF problem all over again. Though on paper it was intended to only cover 9/11 and the Afghan war, the authorization has been used by all presidents since as carte blanche to wage any war anywhere on the planet in which the term terrorism can remotely be applied. The fact that the existing AUMF clearly does not authorize many of America's current wars has meant that in practice, presidents have totally eroded what limited war-making power Congress still claimed for itself. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports, despite public and legal opposition to President Trump's pardoning of Joe Arpaio, former sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, the Department of Justice has formally endorsed the move. On Monday, the DOJ filed court papers requesting the criminal conviction against Arpaio be negated and the case dismissed. Because the president pardoned Arpaio before the judgment and sentencing, or before the appeals process could play out, DOJ officials said the ex-sheriff should not face any legal consequences. DOJ lawyers wrote in Monday's filing, the government agrees that the court should vacate all orders and dismiss the case as moot. Arpaio was convicted of criminal contempt in July after he continued to racially profile and detain immigrants without cause, despite a federal court order to stop the practice. Arpaio lost his bid for re-election in 2016. After Trump pardoned Arpaio in late August, Arpaio's lawyers requested the judge reverse the conviction and throw out the case. The judge declined to throw out the case or respond to Arpaio's request until an appeals hearing on the matter was scheduled for October 4th. A pair of legal advocacy groups have filed amicus briefs in the case, claiming the president's pardon of Arpaio was unconstitutional and undermines the power of the federal court system. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy on Monday provided a temporary reprieve for President Trump's order blocking most refugees from entering the United States, putting on hold a lower court's ruling loosening the prohibition. The full Supreme Court could act within days. The DOJ opted not to appeal another part of last Thursday's ruling by the San Francisco-based Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that related to Trump's ban on travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The Ninth Circuit ruling broadened the number of people with exemptions to the ban to include grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of legal U.S. residents. Without Kennedy's intervention, the appeals court decision would have gone into effect on Tuesday. Kennedy asked challengers to the refugee ban to file a response to the Trump administration's filing by noon on Tuesday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Zoo visitors watch the mating rituals of the ice cream shop staff, and a serious coworker puts on headphones to focus on his sandwich. Happiness is perpetually fleeting, so try to savor the next few minutes before it disappears once again. This is The Onion Week in Review. FBI officials announced they just can't bring themselves to bust a man who recently downloaded every season of the 1990s television show Picket Fences from a BitTorrent website. While stressing that pirating copyrighted material is strictly illegal, federal authorities expressed their sympathy for the man and claimed that perhaps the story of Sheriff Jimmy Brock and the strange events in a small Wisconsin town is all he has left to cling to.
We have more than enough evidence to bust him for piracy, but if the poor guy really wants to watch all 4 seasons of a 20-year-old CBS drama that nobody remembers, then he's clearly going through a pretty big rough patch right now. And frankly, we don't need to make it any worse.
For statistical purposes, we have seized all private data from your personal computer, and we are disgusted with your recent internet search history. You sick f***. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Take control of the airwaves here. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's our number. 855-450-3733. Joining you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And so, Mark, had you heard about this hot dog vendor story out of UC Berkeley?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been in the news for the past few days, and we haven't talked about it yet here on Free Talk Live. Also, I still do want to cover this Equifax thing that we've been teasing for days, so maybe we should get into that first. But the hot dog vendor, there's been an update in that situation, and so we're going to get into that too. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype into the show here at Skype username LRN.FM. So last night, or I guess over the last few days, there's been this breaking news out of Equifax, one of the 3 credit unions, or not credit unions, not the right word, credit reporting agency.
That's the right word, yeah.
Credit reporting agencies. So it's TransUnion, Equifax. What's the third one?
TransUnion, Equifax,
Experian. Yeah. So there was
saw the way my lips were moving, and you took it from me.
There was a major hack where 143 million people, apparently in not just the United States but also Canada and some other place, I think UK, have been affected by this. The story here from TechDirt says that chances are you've already heard about the massive security breach at Equifax that leaked a ton of important data on potentially 143 million people. Now, they say it was in the U.S., but I've seen other reports saying U.S., Canada, UK. If you haven't, you need to pay more attention to the news, they say. I won't get into all the details of what happened here, but they want to point out a few things, and that is that they say Equifax's security breach is a complete disaster and will almost certainly get worse. They say, first, Equifax had been sitting on the knowledge of this breach since July. Now, there's some dispute over how quickly companies should disclose breaches like this, and it makes sense to give companies at least some time to get everything in order before going public. But here it's not clear what Equifax actually did. The company has seemed almost comically unprepared for this announcement in so many ways. Most incredibly, the site that Equifax set up for checking if your data has been compromised was on a consumer hosting plan using a free shared security certificate, a funky domain, and an anonymous Whois record. And incredibly, it asked you for most of your social security number. In short, it's set up in nearly an identical manner to a typical phishing site. Oh, and it left open the fact that the site had only one user, Edelman, the name of a big PR firm. Not surprisingly, it didn't take long for various security tools to warn that the site wasn't safe. And then they show Google with their, black, red screen warning, right? When Google, if you're in the Chrome browser, will insert this warning before websites that are suspected of having naughty things like malware awaiting you on them.
Yes.
And this says, exclamation, deceptive site ahead, trustedidpremier.com. And when Equifax pushed people to its own Trusted ID program to supposedly check if you were a victim of its own failures, it just started telling everyone yes, no matter what information they put in. Somebody on Twitter tweeted out, wow, if you enter test and 123456 on Equifax's hack checker page, it says your data has been breached. So what did Equifax do during the 6 weeks that they had to prepare for this announcement? Well, a few of its top executives used the delay to sell off their stock.
Oh, my goodness.
Which may put them in even more hot water of the criminal variety.
That sounds like hot water to me.
Also, just days before it revealed the breach and long after they knew of it, the company was talking up how admired its CEO is. This is literally the last tweet from Equifax prior to tweeting about the breach, which said, quote, "Our chairman and CEO, Richard F. Smith, has been named one of Atlanta's most admired CEOs." Unquote. I can't see any scenario
that changes tomorrow
under which Smith keeps his job, and it seems likely that many other execs are going to be in trouble as well. Beyond the possible insider trading mentioned, there's already scrutiny on its corporate VP and legal officer John J. Kelly, who made $2.8 million last year and runs the company's security, compliance, and privacy efforts. And despite 6 weeks to prepare for this, the following was Equifax's non-apology. Quote, "We apologize to our consumers and business customers for the concern and frustration this causes," unquote. Now, that's a classic non-apology, says TechDirt. It's not apologizing for its own actions. It's not apologizing for the total mess that they created. It's just apologizing if you're concerned and frustrated. Oh, and did we mention that the very morning of the day that Equifax announced this breach, they tweeted out about a newsletter that they had published about, quote, "how safeguarding valuable customer data is critical," unquote. What the F, Equifax? Should we even mention that Equifax has been a key lobbying force against data breach bills? Those bills have some problems, but really, it's not a good look following all of this.
Nope.
And while there was some concern that signing up to check to see if you were a victim would force you out of being part of any class action lawsuit, that's since been clarified to not apply to any class action lawsuits over the breach. And you better believe that the company is going to be facing one heck of a class action lawsuit. A bunch of them are being filed, but they'll likely be consolidated. That's all background, of course.
This is basically a class action suit for everybody in North America.
A good chunk of them.
Yeah, a darn good chunk of them. I mean, you basically have to be a homeless guy whizzing on yourself on the side of the street at this point.
That's all.
Not be on it.
Background, says the author here. What he really wanted to discuss, he says, is how this will almost certainly get worse before it gets better. More than 12 years ago, I wrote, he says, that a major data breach is later revealed to be worse than, or excuse me, that every major data breach is later revealed to be worse than it was initially reported to be.
Right.
This has held true for years and years. This initial analysis almost always underplays how serious the leak is or how much data has been leaked. Stay tuned, because there's a very high likelihood we'll find out that either more people were impacted or that more sensitive information is out there. And I think people were saying that there were Social Security, driver's license, all kinds of very, very useful information hacked here that could be used to easily steal people's identities.
Basically, this is it. Everything you've attempted to hide, everything you've been told to keep secret up to this point has been leaked by an organization you never gave consent to have your information.
That's true.
Right. Like,
you didn't sign up for Equifax.
No, Equifax is a business-to-business service. Now, there are some laws that allow you to get your credit rating from these companies, but all in all, this is these are organizations that deal with the businesses that you've dealt with. So, I mean, I suppose you've consented in the sense that you've probably signed some form that allows them to share with the credit rating agencies. But I mean, ultimately,
somewhere in those terms of service that you've signed,
you never signed a contract with them. So. That's the difficulty.
And since you've never signed a contract with them, how is the lawsuit going to have standing? I mean, I'm sure some attorney will have some magical way of making it, doing their best at getting there. But if you never actually entered into an agreement with these folks, do you have standing to bring a suit against them?
I don't know the answer for that. I can't answer that. But I suspect really what's happening here is that this company, you know what? This company is probably going to be sacrificed on the corporate pyre in order to teach other companies that this is the kind of lesson that need. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not saying Equifax is a bad company or whatever, but in their position, they're the next step down from the government. Your credit rating is essentially, it's the corporate you, as it were. Mm-hmm. And they just let all their information go. That's just not acceptable.
So he points out that this should be a major concern, the idea that what we may find out later is that it was worse than they initially reported.
Yeah, I suspect that that's exactly right.
What he says is that what we already know is stunning. As the LA Times noted, this is the motherlode of data if you want to commit all sorts of fraud. The data, now at large, includes names, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, and driver's license numbers, all of which can be used to fraudulently validate the identity of someone trying to open a bank or credit card account in another person's name. In some cases, Equifax says the security questions and answers used on some websites to verify users' identities may also have been exposed. Having that information in hand would allow hackers to change their targets' passwords and other account settings.
God.
This is pretty brutal. 855 450 free like freedom. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupid Match.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so Skype on in here at username LRN.FM.
If you're getting, as is now recommended by many studies that are out there, 10 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, you're within the 1% of the population that's managing to pull that off on a regular basis. 1 smug percent. But the prize for accomplishing this feat is protection against obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and enough antioxidants to neutralize all 5 of the known free radicals. These are all worthy goals, and I've been managing to get in. I had one missed day of all of my 10 servings, but I'm cheating. I'm using Fruit and Veggie Total from the makers of Whole Food Multi-Complete, and you can too. Just 2 scoops a day essentially guarantees you're getting all 10 servings. Now, you should eat fruits and vegetables. They've got fiber and great things in them that Fruit and Veggie Total doesn't have. But this ensures that you're getting all the benefits of all of those servings, because trying to get 10 servings a day of fruits and vegetables is try it. It's really, really difficult to manage to do. So please join me in eating better, losing weight, living longer, and feeling great. Go to simplifymysupplements.com. Buy Fruit and Veggie Total. I just got another box here today. Use coupon code FTL to save 10%. They'll give you a free shaker bottle too. It's a great thing and very useful. Simplifymysupplements.com. Code FTL for 10% off.
All right, toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Finally getting into the Equifax hack that there's a good chance it affected what you thought was private information.
Right, like the chances that it didn't are much. The chances that it did affect you are much higher than the chances that it didn't. You basically have to have no credit.
I did run the little check thing on mine, and for whatever reason, they claimed I wasn't affected. So there's a chance that you weren't affected. But as far as like data hacks are concerned, this sounds like the biggest one I've ever heard of. I mean, you remember every now and then something will pop up like Target gets hacked and loses a few million credit card numbers or something like that. It's usually restricted to kind of purchase-oriented data about you, like your credit card information, or it's restricted to maybe a lot of information was lost, but it was a relatively small number, like, a million, so the odds are that you wouldn't be caught up into it. But this is the biggest number I've ever seen, and it's of stuff that includes very sensitive data, like your name, social security number, birth date, address, driver's license number. This is what they're saying was lost, and the point that the guy over at TechDirt is making here is that, well, they're saying what they lost, but what did they really lose? I mean, is this going to later on? Are we going to find out? And he gives other examples of where this has happened in the past in data breaches. Are we going to find out the loss was much larger later on than was initially reported?
And the answer is yes,
or much more severe.
That's what always happens.
That's what he says. So let's go on here with his analysis, because he says he thinks this is going to get worse. In fact, he says that Equifax has admitted that some security questions and answers that have been used on websites, like where they ask you your mother's maiden name or, things like that, those kinds of questions. What was the first street you lived on? Those questions. They're saying some of those might have leaked out as well. Other data breaches, according to TechDirt, may have been bigger in terms of total accounts impacted, but it's hard to see how any data breach could have been this damaging. For over a decade, we've pointed out that credit bureaus like Equifax are collecting way too much data with zero transparency. In fact, back in 2005, we wrote about Equifax itself, saying that it was, quote, unconstitutional and un-American, unquote, to let people know what kind of information that they had on them. Not sure exactly how that is, but that's what they claimed, apparently. The amount of data that Equifax and the other credit bureaus hold is staggering, and as this event shows, they don't seem to have much of a clue about how to actually secure that data. At some point, we need to rethink why we've given Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion so much power over so much of our daily lives. You can't opt out. They collect most of their data without us knowing and in secret. You can't avoid them. And now we know that at least one of them doesn't know how to secure that data.
I hope it's a warning to the rest of them, because the fact that they desire this data doesn't make them qualified to hold it, if that makes sense. Just because they're like, oh, well, we've got to have this. And I agree. I understand why we have to have credit reporting agencies. But that doesn't mean, the simple fact that the market desires a credit reporting agency does not mean that a company, even a legacy company that is a credit reporting agency, is qualified to hold the information the credit reporting agency needs.
So there's even more here, because Equifax wants you to sign up for their service. They're saying they're going to give you like a free credit report, kind of, like the LifeLock thing, where there's a company that looks at your
They're required
credit.
to give you a free credit report every year.
No, but I mean like a free credit monitoring
the credit
thing.
monitoring.
Where that's what their solution is here. Is like,
sign up with Civic for free.
Well, Equifax is saying that, you can have ours for free. Here, now that we've violated your privacy, go ahead and sign up for our service. It's like their solution.
It's like your older brother saying, oh, I'm sorry, after you busted your tooth out, If you're sorry, you wouldn't have done it.
So that brings me to this story from CNBC. Kelly Grant reporting that 3 reasons why you, if you're a victim of this, might not want the Equifax credit monitoring service. We'll get into that coming up here in moments. But let's go to Tom in New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
I want to bring something up, first of all, about Hurricane Irma. If you feel you may need to evacuate a place where there's a hurricane or any issue like that, you take 3 ice cubes and put them in a plastic bag and put that back in your freezer before you leave. Okay? Then you leave and you come back a week later and you heard the power was out and you have no clue how long the power was out. Mm-hmm. But you take a look in your freezer and it's still 3 ice cubes. That means that the food in your freezer didn't thaw out either. Mm-hmm. You see, because the ice cubes would have melted and they would not be 3 ice cubes.
They'd just be some water, frozen water in a bag.
Okay, that's a good trick.
Yeah, it would be a block, one chunk of ice. Now, the other thing I want to bring up here, by the way, the real problem with identity theft is that the banks, will send a credit card with your name on it to anybody who calls up and can rattle off all this stuff instead of requiring identification, which would be less profitable to the banks. Or sending out restricted delivery certified mail where the carrier is supposed to check your ID, and that would slow down. I mean, if somebody's checking your ID before sending it out the information, that would be a big help. And they're saying, oh, you're supposed to somehow keep your life data a secret, but you're supposed to disclose it. For one thing, you're on probation and you're required to go find a job, which means you have to go out and fill out all these job applications, or you're going to prison if you don't. Mm-hmm. And if you do, then you'd have to give out your Social Security number to people you cannot control how they're going to use it. So,
job applications have your social on them?
Oh, yeah. People have to put their Social Security number on job application.
Wow, it's been so long since I've had a job. I don't remember what it was like. Thanks, Tom, for the call tonight. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. If you were caught up in this Equifax credit info hack, how are you handling it? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Free Talk Live.
Wait till you hear the least popular girl's name for 2004. We'll start with Rack. Rack. Crumpet.
Well, Crumpet's kind of funny.
Someone named their little girl Willie. Cannelloni. Cannelloni. Lasagna. Tasty. And Biff. Yeah, Biff. The least popular name. The least popular name.
These are all made up, folks.
I don't
not
care.
believe this nonsense. This is not news.
I don't care. I haven't laughed this much all week. This may be my favorite. Rumpy Pumpy. Now, how could you think that one up? I mean, if you were faking this list, I could understand that you could fake Donald Duck or Scrooge or Pork. But how do you think of Rumpy Pumpy?
Rumpy Pumpy.
RUMPEPUMPEE. Rumpy Pumpy.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the hot dog vendor, and got the video as well of a man selling unlicensed hot dogs. Well, UC Berkeley police had a thing or two to say about that, and they, in fact, stole money right out of the man's wallet.
Yeah.
So we'll share that with you coming up here in moments. And the latest on that story, there's an interesting update thanks to the internet on that. Our toll-free number here again, though, 855-450-FREE. It's Ian and Mark as we continue to discuss the Equifax hack that may have affected 143 million U.S. consumers. And I'm seeing it reported again. It's just U.S. consumers. Maybe there were additional Canadians and UK on top of that. For some reason, I feel like I saw that somewhere at the very beginning of these reports, or maybe that was being misreported. I don't know. If you know, you can clarify it for us. Our toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. One story we shared already from TechDirt says this is probably going to get worse because every time a data breach is reported in the last 15 years, it's gotten worse later. Like, it's been revealed later on that it was actually...
It's a gigantic leak, and it's going to get worse.
That's the prediction, and he says that's based on what happens every time these leaks occur. And then in other news, when you actually go to the Equifax website that they've put up to try to inform you as to whether or not your information was part of this leak, well, then they pitch you their own little service. Oh, well, you already weren't trusting us with your information, but we had it anyway, and we lost it. So now go ahead and sign on up. I mean, what do you got to lose? It's not like, they don't
free,
already
right?
have your data. And they're saying it is a free credit monitoring service, but CNBC is going to give you 3 reasons here why you might not want to sign up for it. They say don't be so quick to sign up for free credit monitoring from Equifax. The company announced late Thursday that it had suffered a breach potentially affecting 143 million U.S. consumers. Neil Crichton, chief executive of security firm CounterTrack, says, quote, "The first assumption a consumer should make is that they are affected." Unquote. Exposed data includes, as we mentioned, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, and in some cases, driver's license numbers, said Equifax in its announcement. The breach also compromised credit card numbers for 209,000 consumers and dispute documents with personal identifying information for 182,000 consumers. Ryan O'Leary, the vice president of threat research at White Hat Security, says, quote, "That's everything an identity thief would need," unquote. They say you can check their website, EquifaxSecurity2017.com, which was one of those when they were talking about earlier in the Tech Dirt article. It's kind of like a weird name for a website. Like, why not just go to the Equifax website? Why'd they have to, set up this other
which looks
thing?
Remarkably like a scam site.
Yeah, it's real basic looking. Anyway, you can see if you've been affected there, though be warned, consumer advocates are saying their system is confusing. The company has also said it will direct mail notices to consumers whose credit card numbers or dispute information were compromised. But while you should check to see if you're affected and then take other steps to protect yourself, experts say there are reasons to think twice before you take the next step of enrolling in their free, quote, Trusted ID Premier, unquote, service the company is offering. And Equifax, by the way, did not immediately respond to requests for comment about this. Number one, by agreeing to the terms and conditions for Equifax's monitoring, you may be giving up key consumer rights. In a statement, the National Consumer Law Center warned customers of fine print in the agreement that requires them to settle disputes through arbitration and bans them from participating in class action lawsuits. The fine print does give consumers the ability to opt out by notifying the company in writing within 30 days, according to the staff attorney for the National Consumer Law Center. Quote, however, most consumers will not see that fine print and will be forced to give up their access to the courts. New York Attorney General announced Friday that they had launched an investigation into the breach and claiming the fine print language was unacceptable. Number two, the scope. Monitoring your credit is a typical first to do after a breach, but it's the credit monitoring agency that just got breached, says O'Leary. He says they've suggested consumers weigh paying for a third-party service like ID Shield or LifeLock, but as you mentioned, Civic is a new blockchain-based identity protection service that is offering such protections for free.
Yeah, I don't know what the specifics are. I signed up like a year ago, so maybe I got in before you had to pay or whatever. But
good point. Maybe they've changed it, but yeah, it was free.
I have found that it is it's like they're doing their job. The couple of times that I've had to ping my credit, they've sent me a report, and I'm like, what?
Interesting.
What? Oh yeah, I did.
I did that.
I did that, and so it's been great.
If they want credit monitoring, independent monitoring companies track more than your credit file to spot suspicious activity, which is key, considering that it's unclear if the attackers manipulated or changed Equifax's database, said Crichton. The paid services also typically bundle in assistance to help victims handle credit card problems. He says, quote, I hate to tell people to sign up for things that cost money, especially when it's not their fault that they've been compromised. So basically saying that whatever it is Equifax is offering you here isn't going to be the level of protection that you would get from some of these other services.
These credit protection companies, this is the new mandatory insurance, right? Like you've got fire insurance on your home, you've got collision insurance on your car, you've got medical insurance in case you're in a terrible, situation. This is basically you're gonna have to have this as for whatever reason people are stealing identities out there, and you've got to have this kind of protection as time goes by.
Number three is the timing. Equifax is offering more than a month after the company discovered the breach and several months after the thieves began accessing the data may come too late for consumers. thieves tend to sell and use such data quickly to capitalize on its value, said Crichton. In a Federal Trade Commission study from earlier this year, researchers found that thieves began to use stolen data within minutes of it being posted online.
Jeez.
They've probably already started using it. Now, I've also heard another claim, and I didn't look deeply into this story, that people claiming to be the hackers were trying to get $2+ million worth of Bitcoin from Equifax in order to not release the data. But then again, how do you really trust those people?
I suspect you don't.
Right. And he says here, you'll also need to keep watching. Thieves could easily make use of the stolen data for years. When breaches like these happen, consumers need to be diligent and not just in the short term. Just because nothing looks amiss on your bank statements or your credit report now, that doesn't mean you haven't been compromised. So that's, do you want to sign up for the very company that just lost
all Americans
your
have a reason
data?
to be
Oh,
concerned
there's somebody
here
there
because
talking. Sorry about that. So toll-free number if you want to join us, it's 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Now, the government, of course, is the ones that created the Social Security number in the first place.
And I think we were remiss to not mention that the Social Security number, the card used to have on it not for use for identification purposes.
It did, yeah.
And I think mine still has that. I don't know if yours does.
I burned mine.
No, that's right. You burned yours.
More than a decade ago.
Yeah, you did. But, the older among us have these cards that say not for use for identification purposes, and then everybody demands it for identification purposes.
Now, in a lot of cases, you should be able to turn that down. However, what it may end up doing is meaning that a company, let's say you're trying to sign up for like a cable company subscription for your TV or cable modem, and a lot of times they want to run a credit check on you, and so that's what they're getting the Social Security number for, so they can easily run the credit check. If you don't give over your Social Security number, you may still be able to open the account, but you might have to put down a cash payment or something like that. So there are ways to get around it.
It's darn difficult to even open a bank account without a SOCH.
No, it's not possible. You can't do it. Not in the United States. Since the Patriot Act, there have been people who've claimed that you can, but they can never show proof of those claims. And I wish it were true, but unfortunately all of the banks are very obedient to the federal government.
I can hardly believe you can even have credit without a SOCH. So...
yeah, I would think
you can freeze your credit. You can just have it so that basically no accounts can be opened in your name.
Yeah, and I think that is actually one of the things that has been recommended that folks do in this particular case. If you've been violated by this Equifax leak, is that you can put the freeze on it somehow. The toll-free number here, 855-450 free like freedom. What else can somebody do who's been affected by this hack? Again, an estimated 143 million of you out there have been hit by this. So how do you handle it? 855-450 free. If you've got some suggestions and solutions, it's Free Talk Live.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people, exchanging skills and services. From web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's buysellmakeoffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. Buysellmakeoffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. What do you do if you got caught up in this Equifax hack that could have affected you? It apparently affected at least 140 million U.S. consumers.
140 million.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you can share your thoughts with us here. What have you done if you have been caught up in this? The folks over at CNBC have some recommended steps. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number if you want to jump in here, 855-450-3733. And you don't need money to do business over on Simbi.com. It's a slick and easy-to-use marketplace where you trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget the old economy. This is your economy, Simbi.com. You won't believe the diversity of services available at Simbi.com. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. So go get your free account at Simbi.com. Take a look around. Post your services, SIMBI, Simbi.com. Story here from CNBC. What do you do after a breach? Now, Mark, you mentioned this freeze idea where you can put your credit at these agencies, you can freeze it, and that'll make it so anybody applying for a credit card, including you, will not be able to actually apply for the credit card.
Correct.
So it says here...
So for whatever reason, you need to buy a car, or you need to do something, get a cell phone, switch your cell phone plan, or whatever it is you might need to do, you're going to need to unfreeze your credit,
Right.
which isn't fast and it isn't easy.
Have you done this before?
No, I listened to Clark Howard.
According to the story here, a freeze isn't a step to undertake lightly. Besides stopping criminals, it also prevents you from getting new credit, so you'll need to, as Mark pointed out, lift the freeze temporarily anytime you want a new credit card or refinancing a mortgage or whatever. But freezes don't always come cheap. There can be a fee each time you add, lift, or remove a freeze. And you'll face up to 3 fees for taking that action with each company. Well, wouldn't that be a butt burner if now that Equifax has lost your data, you then have to contact them to pay them to freeze your data? Gee, thanks.
And before we all, stomp around and say things like, the government should have a easier system for us to deal with this sort of thing. Well, they should, but they should have had it already. They were in charge already. And this is what you got.
Mm-hmm.
You got
the big three.
The big three doing whatever the hell they want to do whenever the hell they want to do it, and you having to suck it up. Well, this is just how it goes. This is what it's like when you hand over a monopoly privilege to an organization.
So rates vary by company and state, as well as details including your age and whether you've been a victim of identity theft. Fees also vary by the kind of action you're taking. For example, in Iowa, placing a freeze might be free, $5, or $10, depending on which category you fall under. And so, again, who knows, how difficult of a process that is, how long it takes.
Do you have to prove you're a victim of identity theft, or you just have to say it?
I have no idea. What to do after a breach. Here's some other ideas, according to CNBC.com. Number one, change your login information on accounts with the affected company. If you use that same username or password on other sites, change those too. Now, here they're talking about not necessarily a password breach, but a breach that could, in theory, give the thieves access to the highest level, kind of most important secure stuff that you're supposed to have, like bank accounts, for instance. All that said, if there has been a security breach with a website that involves a password, that's good advice. I think this is like general data breach, what to do is not specifically about this one particular hack. Number two, monitor any financial accounts associated with the breach for fraud. So, of course, that's potentially all of your accounts in this case. If Equifax knows about all of your... Now, does Equifax track bank accounts? I guess they generally don't, right? Like the credit reporting agencies only track credit-related accounts. So your credit cards show up, your car loans, mortgage information. But I've looked at a credit report before, and I don't recall seeing anything about bank accounts there. So they may not necessarily know you have a bank account somewheres, but if they just start trolling around and, they've got your social security number, they've got, other data about you, they could very well, call up a bank and say, I'm so-and-so with here's my information, and just see if they acknowledge that you have an account. See if they, just randomly try the biggest, most popular banks out there. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, these big banks where there's a chance that somebody's going to have an account there. So, keep an eye on your existing accounts and look for any kind of examples of strange activity. It says here, number three, watch out for phishing attacks. Thieves often use news of a breach to generate new attacks, posing as the affected company to trick consumers into giving up personal information. Well, now that's another, again, this is just generally good advice here, is to be aware of phishing attacks when you're looking through your email and you've got an email that's come in from a company that you have done business with or looks legitimate. It may very well not be. If they're asking for login information, right, there's a good chance that they're not for real. If they show you a link, like, I've had one of these come in from like PayPal, where it says, we need your help, fixing an error with your account. Click here to log in. And then if you don't pay attention and you're not it doesn't look suspicious to you. Let's say the spelling's all correct, because a lot of times in a phishing attack, they're going to screw up some spelling. Just because they're not from around here, and they don't know how to spell English words real well.
How come Americans don't set up phishing attacks? This is what I want to know.
Some of them do.
Speaking, well, and then you check the website, address right up there. Make sure it's
check the address.
Make sure it's
PayPal.com,
not PayPal.org.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever it is. Yeah.
So we can continue
probably
here
an entirely different site
on some more advice, some suggestions. What are your ideas? Let's go to Chuck, listening in Lake Isabella to KVLI. Hey, Chuck, Lake Isabella, going once. Do we have Chuck?
Yeah.
Hey, there you are. We got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've heard that in Europe you can opt out of being in the credit bureau, having your name on file and stuff. So that's one thing I wanted to mention.
Is that if
And
you don't
another
have,
thing-
if you don't want to even just have credit, you can just sort of get out of the system entirely?
They have to get your permission,
Huh.
basically. They have to get your approval before they can put you into a credit file.
Okay.
That'd be useful.
So, and I've had a credit freeze for like 5 years. And I used to get a lot of, those you're pre-approved things in the mail.
Yep. Offers.
And once I put a credit freeze, they stopped coming in the mail totally.
Interesting.
But
little bonus.
But one thing I was going to say that I was listening to Clark Howard also. He was talking about, even though you got a credit freeze, the numbers they give you to unlock your credit freeze, that the 12-year-old could hack in there and get the numbers.
Oh, God.
That would unlock even if you have a credit freeze. So, and he was saying that you're going to, for the rest of your life, you're going to have to be watching this.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life. It's not going to end like in a year or 10 years. It's going to be for the rest of your life.
This is 140 million Americans. That's almost half of the population, and it's going to be, you're not talking about the lowest rungs of society here. The lowest rungs don't have credit information. And
like here in California, it costs $10 for each credit bureau if you want to unfreeze your credit.
How much was it? $10 you said?
$10.
Okay.
Yeah, $10. But you can say, well, I only want to unfreeze it for like 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
They don't charge you to freeze it back.
I see. Chuck,
But
thanks.
to unfreeze it,
Yeah, go ahead.
$10. Yeah, to unfreeze it is $10.
All right. Chuck, I appreciate the info. Thanks for calling to share that tonight. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So the list here from CNBC also says, so in addition to watching out for phishing attacks, again, that's good advice anytime. Just beware, be suspicious of any kind of email that you receive that appears to be from some company that you think that you do business with. Be very, very careful. Watch the URL if you do click on a link in that email, which you probably shouldn't do if it's suspicious. But even if you're not suspicious, always check that link just to make sure it's going to where you think that it's going to go.
I've had a few sort of fallacious charges on my credit card or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether I've been compromised or what has happened, but I've had that happen in the past. And it's usually a pretty simple process to deal with. However, people who have had their identity stolen and had really, really ongoing problems from it. So I feel like the government, somebody has to figure out how to make this easier, because there's going to be a lot of problems stemming from this.
Yeah, the government's not going to be the person the group you want to turn to for that. More coming up here in moments. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We'll check in with a story about the hot dog vendor cracked down upon by the police. We'll tell you about it coming up. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 12th, 2017. Silver's trading at $17.85 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,329 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,357. Antiwar.com reports that Senate officials are hoping to get to a final vote on the National Defense Authorization Act, a military spending bill in excess of $700 billion. Getting to that vote, however, means dealing with all the military and war-related amendments to the bill. Senate leaders appear to have decided that the easiest way to get around this is to severely curtail debate on certain particularly controversial issues, with an 89-3 vote on Monday agreeing to limit procedural debate on the matter. Senator John McCain is trying to manage the debate, which is to say dramatically curtail the debate. There are still major issues to be settled, however, with Senators Rand Paul of Kentucky and Kirsten Gillibrand of New York both pushing major debates on war authorization and transgender soldiers, respectively. Senator Paul intends to repeal the 2001 authorization for the use of military force. That amendment is seen as politically awkward for some of the hawks, who argue that they want to create a new AUMF that explicitly covers current wars, but who are reluctant to see any limitations placed on the way America's wars are waged. That's the 2001 AUMF problem all over again. Though on paper it was intended to only cover 9/11 and the Afghan war, the authorization has been used by all presidents since as carte blanche to wage any war anywhere on the planet in which the term terrorism can remotely be applied. The fact that the existing AUMF clearly does not authorize many of America's current wars has meant that in practice, presidents have totally eroded what limited war-making power Congress still claimed for itself. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports, despite public and legal opposition to President Trump's pardoning of Joe Arpaio, former sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, the Department of Justice has formally endorsed the move. On Monday, the DOJ filed court papers requesting the criminal conviction against Arpaio be negated and the case dismissed. Because the president pardoned Arpaio before the judgment and sentencing, or before the appeals process could play out, DOJ officials said the ex-sheriff should not face any legal consequences. DOJ lawyers wrote in Monday's filing, the government agrees that the court should vacate all orders and dismiss the case as moot. Arpaio was convicted of criminal contempt in July after he continued to racially profile and detain immigrants without cause, despite a federal court order to stop the practice. Arpaio lost his bid for re-election in 2016. After Trump pardoned Arpaio in late August, Arpaio's lawyers requested the judge reverse the conviction and throw out the case. The judge declined to throw out the case or respond to Arpaio's request until an appeals hearing on the matter was scheduled for October 4th. A pair of legal advocacy groups have filed amicus briefs in the case, claiming the president's pardon of Arpaio was unconstitutional and undermines the power of the federal court system. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy on Monday provided a temporary reprieve for President Trump's order blocking most refugees from entering the United States, putting on hold a lower court's ruling loosening the prohibition. The full Supreme Court could act within days. The DOJ opted not to appeal another part of last Thursday's ruling by the San Francisco-based Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that related to Trump's ban on travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The Ninth Circuit ruling broadened the number of people with exemptions to the ban to include grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of legal U.S. residents. Without Kennedy's intervention, the appeals court decision would have gone into effect on Tuesday. Kennedy asked challengers to the refugee ban to file a response to the Trump administration's filing by noon on Tuesday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After this morning's police raid on Cosmopolitan magazine's male pleasure laboratory revealed that test subjects were forced to endure horrific abuses and inhumane living conditions, Onion reporters spoke to 23-year-old Daniel Chertok, one of the numerous men exploited for the monthly magazine's studies on erotic stimulation.
It was awful. It drove us wild for days on end. Once they made me lather myself with gallons of sexy bath oils, and then read thousands of racy text messages until my eyesight began to blur. Then for the next 12 hours, they blasted sultry songs into my ears and made me simulate 50 crazy hot sex moves. They said I couldn't rest until they found the bliss button on my randy regions.
According to Chertok, test subjects were often subjected to hours of grueling experimentation at the hands of female scientists. Chertok added that many of his fellow subjects were not lucky enough to survive the excruciating treatment.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free, bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and Skype username is LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We're going to go to your calls and thoughts. You can bring up anything you want. Still to come tonight, though, we've got the story about the UC Berkeley police cracking down on a man who's just trying to make a little bit of money selling some hot dogs, I guess near or on campus. We'll share that story with you. We've actually got the video from that case, and then the update on what the good news is for the man who was targeted and literally robbed by police who stole money from his wallet on camera. As we continue here, you can bring up anything you want. In the first hour, we did talk about the Equifax hack that is affecting millions, or like over 140 million Americans and others, I believe, including Canadians as well. But you're welcome to share your comments and thoughts on that. Plus, we are expecting to hear from Christopher Cantwell. He's still in jail in Charlottesville, Virginia, in the Albemarle County lockup. And I believe he's actually on the line with us right now. Chris, are you there?
I am.
How's the food?
It's a pleasure to be with you. The food, you know what, I'll tell you what, I hated it when I got in here. I said, oh my God, it's terrible. But now, like, every time I hear that cart coming, it's like Pavlov's dog. I go in that little slot of myself, like, feed me, please.
It's the excitement for the day.
Well, and you are in the solitary confinement as well, and that's where you will likely continue to be as you're being held pre-trial for some allegations surrounding use of pepper spray. Now, for listeners that are unfamiliar, you are the guy who was a former host here on Free Talk Live who made major headlines a few weeks ago out of Charlottesville, Virginia, for attending and being fairly prominent in the media about is it a white supremacy rally, white nationalist rally?
The way to describe it would be alt-right, and I stress to you, the listener, that alt-right is not a very well-defined term. There is a lot of different people out there with a lot of different ideas. I don't mind being called a white nationalist anymore. I think that's a fine thing for a person to be, because I think a libertarian society would be full of white people, and so I think that pursuing white ethnic interests is a downright reasonable thing for white folks to do.
And
Now,
that's something that we're going to disagree on, but you should be free to do whatever it is you want to do as far as in a libertarian society is concerned. For instance, I appreciate diversity, but all that aside, the government has locked you in a cage based on essentially your beliefs, and you did get involved in some sort of fracas that did involve the use of pepper spray, which you've admitted to on video. But ultimately, you should have been granted bail, according to pretty much anybody that knows anything about the legal system. And they
even your detractors are saying this is essentially
some detractors, yeah.
Well, many of your detractors are saying this is basically you're being held as a political prisoner for your things that you've said and that sort of thing.
Well, essentially, that's the idea. I mean, look, if I came down here and I pepper sprayed some old lady and I took a purse, I don't think I'd be sitting in this box right now. Okay, what happens is, yes, I've confessed that I pepper sprayed a man in self-defense, but now two people who are not that man are accusing me of pepper spraying them maliciously as some kind of hate crime. But there's no hate crime laws here, so they're saying it's a malicious injury by caustic agent or explosive. I've got 3 charges and I face an upper limit of 20 years on each one of them. So I'm sitting here looking at 60 years in prison. I'm being held without bond, basically because not even because I pepper sprayed somebody, because 2 people I didn't pepper spray are lying. And so that's the situation that I'm in facing right now. And what I wanted to bring to your attention today, I heard, I got my little AM/FM radio here in the jail. I just got working, and sadly, there's no quality liberty-oriented programming here. I wish somebody had gone to broadcast.lrn.fm and set up a radio station. But I did get to listen to NPR for a little while and the local news. And the local news said that there's a preliminary report that the University of Virginia Police Department, the UVA Charlottesville, is where this brawl happened, and they said that the police were being criticized for not seeking intelligence ahead of our torch march. We went and marched with tiki torches
and they knew that this was going to happen, but they didn't go and dig in further to learn about it, is what it was saying.
Yeah, we called them in it ahead of time, and on my demand, by the way, because we had a permit for Saturday's event, but the UVA thing happened Friday night, okay? And so they didn't think we weren't advertising this thing publicly, so the guys who were organizing didn't think it was going to be necessary to get the police involved. But as people who have been following know, my Radical Agenda listeners meetup got infiltrated by people who had been stalking me in advance of the event, and falsely accused me of pulling a pistol on them. And I was offering my body cam to police to prove my innocence on this. I didn't do it, and the police let me go. And I said, these guys have already falsely accused me of a crime. We need to have law enforcement involved because we know that they've infiltrated our communications. So our organizers called the UVA police and said, hey, we're going to come down and do this thing. I don't know exactly what the conversation was. I wasn't privy to it, but I was told by the organizers that the UVA police were going to move the Antifa people out of our way so that we didn't come into contact with them because we know that there's a potential for conflict. So that's why I was so surprised when we saw them at the end of our march, and then they attacked us even though we outnumbered them like 10 to 1. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about it is the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, the federal government, apparently warned the UVA police in Charlottesville and the state of Virginia that Antifa, not us, not the alt-right, not the white supremacists, nationalists, whatever, not us, the Antifa, the leftists who attacked us, who were warned by the Department of Homeland Security that they're terrorists.
The Department of Homeland Security issued a confidential warning to law enforcement 3 days before the Charlottesville protest rally, saying that an escalating series of clashes had created a powder keg that would likely make the event, quote, among the most violent to date, unquote, between white supremacists and, they call them anarchists here. The law enforcement sensitive assessment obtained by Politico and reported for the first time raises questions about whether Charlottesville City and Virginia state authorities dropped the ball before and during a public event that was widely expected to draw huge crowds of armed, emotional, and antagonistic participants from around the country. Chris, do you think this was just typical bureaucratic incompetence, or was this some sort of plot to allow violence to happen on the part of the city?
I think that what the city wanted to happen, I don't know exactly what happened to all UVA. Okay, I wasn't involved in any of the planning for that, and to my knowledge, we did not put them on notice of that in advance. I know Saturday we had a permit. We got that permit yanked. We got the ACLU to get a court injunction, and they were supposed to give us that park all to ourselves and let us get our vehicles in there so that we did not come into contact with those people. We went down there for a law-abiding, peaceful demonstration, and then what happened is, even though we had the court order, the government acted like we didn't have it, and they just said you can have a little corner of the park, you can't get your vehicles in here, and then they declared it an unlawful assembly and pushed hundreds of armed white nationalists into a crowd of communist rioters who threw rocks and bottles and urine and feces and bleach and pepper spray at us. You know, it's a miracle that none of our guys shot anybody. We were out there with level 3s and ARs. We could have gone to war with those people, and we didn't want to. You know, it was this big. They're trying to parade me around like some violent guy because I said, you know, we didn't start the fight. We'll effing kill these people if we have to. But I said, if we have to, and we didn't have to. We had to fight for our lives to get out of there alive, but we didn't have to shoot anybody, so nobody got shot. Right? They wanted us to open fire on those crowds. That's what I really think the city of Charlottesville was trying to do, so that they could declare some kind of state of emergency and usurp powers over it.
So, you know, these same people are essentially your jailers now. How are they doing keeping you safe from people who probably don't like you?
I have to say that people in the jail are treating me with the utmost courtesy and professionalism. They're taking care of me. They have me entirely too safe. It's like a pain in the neck for me to take a shower because they say the guy who kills me gets famous, so I can't be near anybody. They don't let me play with the other kids. They let me go to the gym today for like 20 minutes, and they have like a deflated basketball and nowhere to do pull-ups or nothing. But I'm entirely too safe.
All right, Chris, thanks for the update here tonight. I'll put you on hold here. Stand by. Appreciate hearing from you, even though we don't agree on everything. I do agree that he should not be behind bars while awaiting trial. It's pretty clear he's not a flight risk. He turned himself in. Flight risks don't do that. All right, more coming up here. 855, 450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. The vet wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years.
Petey stopped eating. All of his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
And then it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on. It was awesome.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days. I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us right here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733, and we've got Skype, so Skype on in to join us. Skype username here is LRN.FM.
BulletBlocker.com is a garment company that was started by a former Army Ranger and a firearms instructor. Those are 2 different people, and their goal was to make backpacks for kids to protect them in cases of school shootings. Well, that has grown into a huge selection of backpacks and briefcases and jackets and coats that could save your life. Their products are attractive, well-made, right here in the U.S. They're made of the thinnest, lightest ballistic available in the market today. It's very flexible and concealable. It's airport security friendly. And you've got to have a nice jacket. You might as well get one that stops bullets, too. Get something for the whole family. This isn't the kind of thing you get a second chance at. BulletBlocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at BulletBlocker.com. They do need a little lead time to get your thing put together, so now's the time to check them out. BulletBlocker.com.
All right, you can join us here. Toll-free number 855-450, free like freedom. Ricky is on the line in Pennsylvania on Skype. Hello, Ricky.
Yeah, that would be the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, brother Ian. Good evening.
What's on your mind tonight, Ricky?
Well, it's been on my mind for a couple of nights, and I did have a little more to say after this, but I heard Dave Ridley call in a couple of nights back. I believe it was on the 9th, was it not?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we don't have notes on that. Go ahead.
Well, I think you remember, and see, here's my thoughts on this. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk about the Libertarian Party, the problems with it, and things of that nature. Now, I'm going to say this right now because I'm Ricky from the Commonwealth, and I'm not a host of this show. I can say any damn thing I want. Now, fact of the matter is, if it's all right, one thing that would never come out of my mouth is a comment like I heard. Now,
like what? I don't remember what the comment was.
I'll refresh your memory. Well, I guess he was bored, annoyed, or whatever. He said he was bored with the junk callers, the repetition.
Oh, that call.
Worked for you there, Ian. Very helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now here's the problem with this. Now I listen to this show almost every single night. And if I miss it, I listen to it when I get the chance.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you something. I hear every caller come on. I had a big problem with Ralph. I did about it right. See, my problem with Ralph as an example, just in comparison to what
So now it's going to be callers complaining about callers. We know you don't like Ralph. You've had it out with him before.
Yeah, but see, I want to explain the difference between me and somebody like Dave and his comment. I would never censor anybody. See, the problem with Ralph is Ralph don't even have a point. Ralph not only
Sure he
has a
does. Ralph's point is that he believes that races are inferior to others, and he's very against black people, Ralph. That's always his point. In fact, we're going to start imposing rules on Ralph as well. We had a discussion last night about James in Arizona and needing to put the rules back on him about not digging into the past constantly and talking about the same thing over and over again. I think the same rule needs to be applied to Ralph, who has been incessantly calling about the exact same thing for a couple of years.
In the case of Ralph, he is a one-trick pony. But the thing is, it should not be because, like, quote, you're bored. I mean, the reality is you can't – if you're supposed to be somebody that believes in anti-censorship, you cannot ever, even in the slightest, say a comment like that. You know, I mean, in all honesty. I mean,
look, it doesn't look. You don't. I don't think you really understand what this is about. This doesn't have anything to do with us being in favor of censorship or against censorship. Because ultimately, if you were to say the F word right now, we're going to have to hit the censor button and dump your call. So no, you can't say.
I'm into civil rights. I can't even say the N word in context. And I was going to ask you about that because I might get dumped. And when I'm
I would dump that word too.
I use it all the time.
I would dump that too.
Right,
just because
civil rights,
not because, and it doesn't have anything to do with our
certainly doesn't have anything to do with civil rights.
It doesn't have anything to do with the FCC. It has to do with radio stations not wanting to have that content on their airwaves, and we have to protect those radio stations.
That's the problem of the fight that we're fighting, because it's the damn stations.
What fight?
I understand what positions.
What fight are you fighting? Because I don't know if you and I are fighting the same fight.
Yeah, I'm not fighting the N-word fight.
I prefer to not fight at all. Actually, I'm not quite a pacifist, but I try to avoid conflict if I can. So, what fight are you talking about?
Jefferson, 30% Aaron Burr. I admit.
Right.
I got an itchy.
That doesn't answer the question.
Revolution.
Oh, you want to have a revolution?
Already got one. Last I looked, it was officially made official last July that the Second American Revolution started.
Well, who made that official?
It was all across the news.
Well, how does the news make that official? That's just people with an opinion.
I think it was due to the movement and people can't take it anymore. People got crushed, and that's the thing.
I don't even know what you're talking about now. You sounded like you were, coherent in the beginning of the call, and it's just gone all over the place now.
Here's my answer: frustration. The thing that bothered me was he had to say, Ian, how I am against censorship. But you're
talking about Dave Ridley now, once again.
Dave Ridley, yeah, he's still doing censorship. I won't even do that.
No, he's not doing censorship. He's just bored of the same people calling, and I can't blame him for that. Thanks for the call, Ricky. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
But what about Ricky's civil rights to say the N-word?
Well, I mean, he has a right to say it, just not on these airwaves here. We don't allow that one. And the F word and the S word and a few other words that you're not supposed to say on the radio. No, I think that I can understand where Dave Ridley was coming from with his frustrations. But again, it all comes down to we cannot create a show that's going to please everybody. It's just not a possibility. So I don't even try. I do the show that I want to listen to. And that show is Free Talk Live, and unfortunately, that does mean we're open phones, and there can be some bad times with open phones, just like there can be some amazing times with open phones. I think you just got to kind of take the bad with the good, and we appreciate everybody who stays tuned as long as they stay tuned. So, of course, if you want to join us here and bring up whatever you want, you can do that. 855-450-FREE like freedom. Again, Ricky, he's not going anywhere because he has the ability to call about at least some different things. Yeah, he's going to mention federalism during his calls, but at least he's going to say something.
Hamilton is going to get mentioned.
The reason that he's calling is going to be some other thing. Sarah, for instance, another one of our chronics, she's almost always keeping it fresh. But I think Ralph and James we're going to have to crack down. There's going to have to be some rules on those two specifically. So we'll see.
What about Scott the Bigot? That he's going to talk about international Jews.
Yeah, that's a good point. What should we do about Scott? Because does he change it up often enough to be
enough? I think does he change it up enough?
Yeah,
and he tends to have something different every time. I don't know. You'll have to figure that out.
Others could, and again, there's another question of, well, could we allow these people to call in but less often? Is that still Free Talk Live? Like, let's say, our old rule was 1 call per night, and the reason for that rule was to allow for room for others to call in. Would others call in if, in the last hour of the show, if those people weren't on the lines at all? Now, you could still, because the lines are still mostly open on a weeknight, and you can get in on anything here. Free Talk Live.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available. Comfortable interiors and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and we do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. Now, of course, you can bring up absolutely anything that you want to discuss. We actually had Christopher Cantwell call in from jail earlier in the hour today, and he did bring up an interesting headline, and that is that the Virginia police had received a warning from the Department of Homeland Security before the rally, the now infamous rally in Charlottesville. According to the story, the law enforcement sensitive assessment that has been obtained by Politico and reported for the first time raises questions about whether Charlottesville City and Virginia state authorities dropped the ball before and during a public event that was widely expected to draw huge crowds of armed, emotional, and antagonistic participants from around the country.
Yeah, those are the people you want mixing it up together.
The August 9th report by the Department of Homeland Security Office of Intelligence and Analysis was done in coordination with local, state, and federal authorities at the Virginia Fusion Center. It stated that white supremacists and anti-fascist Antifa extremists had clashed twice before in Charlottesville, at a white nationalist rally in May and a Ku Klux Klan gathering on July 7th. At each event, anarchist extremists, unquote, attacked protesters who had been issued permits, leading to fights, injuries, arrests, and at least 2 felony charges of assault and battery. Now, the funny thing is here, I'm pretty sure the Antifa people aren't anarchists, right? These are people who want government. The Antifa people.
Yeah, I can't imagine why they're using the term anarchist in that circumstance. Some of them may claim to be anarchists, but mostly the people who claim to be anarchists are just communists who don't understand what communism is or anarchism or any of that stuff.
Right, which is why the term anarchist is just, I never understand why people want to try to repair that term. It's just so bad-mouthed in media and in, police paperwork and things like this. You've got so much confusion surrounding the term and what it means for folks. I frankly think it's a useless term, but it's worse than useless. It's damaging.
A lot of people like it. It's zippy and it catches people's attention.
That much is true, but you aren't going to get the right kind of attention, I think, from a lot of people.
Certainly not on the radio, because if you just go on the radio and claim I'm an anarchist and you don't explain what that means to you, because it seems to mean something different to just about everybody who says it, then it's not going to work out well.
More coming up about this report from the Department of Homeland Security. Let's go, though, to John in Dallas, Texas, listening via our podcast. Go ahead, John.
Yes, I would like to discuss the hateful person who keeps calling in.
The who person? I'm sorry, you broke up just a little bit there.
Yeah, the hateful person who keeps calling in.
The hateful person, okay.
Giving threats, death threats and all that stuff.
Yeah, James in Arizona.
And his DWIs and everything. I would like to personally mail him a bottle of any liquor he wants, a 1.5 liter, and I will personally buy a car and so he can drive it. As long as he finishes the bottle, he gets the car and then he can drive home.
I see. So he's going to be you're enabling his alleged fourth drunk driving arrest.
Oh no, he'd probably hit himself in a tree.
Yeah, I don't think we want to encourage that guy to get out on the roads. But
it's just a joke, Ian.
Yeah, no, I get you. John, anything else you want to share tonight?
I was just following up over his third DWI and all that stuff and saying, honestly, dude needs to
We got to let you go, John. I'm sorry. Your phone connection is just too bad. I appreciate hearing from you, though. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So, we get a call from somebody who's not a chronic, and the phone's no good.
It's those the landlines. People just don't have phones.
That's not a landline.
Yeah,
that's a cell phone.
Okay.
Landlines don't sound like that.
All right.
Landlines you don't have interference issues with because it's a landline. It's an actual
I hope my cell doesn't sound like that when I'm talking to clients.
It's an actual copper wire that is running from point A to point B at the telephone
it
service
seems like
box.
It's getting worse, though, Ian. I talk to people all the time
on a landline?
On a landline, and it's just getting worse and worse over time.
Well, you might want to have your lines checked because I've never had
I just had new lines installed at my house.
Well, something's wrong with them then, because if you're getting noise or something like that on a landline, then there's a problem. Anyway, so back to the story here. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want, and there was one just as an aside for the issue of the chronic callers and the people who don't like them. It is open phones every night here on Free Talk Live, and I think some people, when they listen to a national show, I was actually talking with Riley Blake on his show today, Anarcho Agenda, and he interviewed me. It was very nice, and I'm sure that'll be coming up on an upcoming episode of his. But he had pointed out that maybe some people don't understand that it's really actually pretty easy to get on the air here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, they talk about it being very difficult to get on the air on like Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and the last numbers I saw, Rush Limbaugh had more than 10 million listeners.
Yeah.
Compare that to the highest numbers I've seen for Free Talk Live, it being like 300,000.
Yeah.
250,000 listeners. Plus the fact that we're on at a different time, and Rush may take one call an hour, maybe as few as one call a show.
Yeah.
Whereas
make you wait through 3 hours and then finally take your call.
Free Talk Live can take, we've taken as many as 20, 25 calls in a show.
For sure.
It's just a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah. If you don't hear somebody on the air with us, that means nobody is on the phones most of the time.
Always.
Most of the time. Almost 5% of the time, unless there's some other extreme reason or circumstance to not go to those calls. Well, it's generally what we do here, which is why the Chronics are so good at getting on, because they're wise enough to know that they can. That's just part of the game here. Anyway, back to the story here from the Department of Homeland Security letting the Charlottesville police and government there know about the dangers involved in this rally that happened back on, I think it was August 12th. Both sides were clearly gearing up, says Politico, for an unprecedented confrontation in the weeks leading up to the August 12th Unite the Right rally and a weekend of events planned around it by white supremacist rally organizers and those protesting it. The assessment warned, quote, anarchist extremists and white supremacist extremists online are calling on supporters to be prepared for or instigate violence at the 12th August rally, unquote. One probable white supremacist, it said, had posted an online call to arms saying Antifa must be destroyed.
Jeez.
They predicted it, one senior law enforcement analyst from another state said of the assessment. Each side was saying, quote, all right, everybody, go get your weapons, and we're going to go kick their asses, unquote. And that's exactly what happened in Charlottesville.
That's pretty much what happened, yeah.
3 days after Department of Homeland Security report was distributed to law enforcement.
I would like to say this about the alt-righters versus the Antifa. The Antifa seemed to come with riot gear, right? Like they were wearing the helmets, they had the shields, they were ready for and masks. They
ready
were
for a fight.
Yeah, ready for a confrontation like that. The alt-righters, and this is what Cantwell said, and I tend to believe him on this subject, is they weren't expecting it then. They were going to make their march or whatever, but these guys had their faces completely bare. They weren't wearing helmets. They weren't carrying shields. They may have been armed, but many of them are probably armed in their daily lives. And Virginia is an open carry state and has a great deal of reciprocity. Don't you remember the Adam Kokesh situation where he was going to walk across the bridge from an open carry state to Washington, D.C., whatever that might be? So, Look, I don't like either of these sides, but it looked like one was more prepared for a fight than another to me.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, you can take control of the airwaves, bring up anything at all. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. More about the Department of Homeland Security report. Was it ignored on purpose? This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash. a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. All you have to do is dial in toll-free at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. You appreciate this show, you want to help support Free Talk Live, become an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. For $5 per month, we'll take that money in and invest it into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, expose new people to the ideas of freedom and peace and cryptocurrency. These are cool ideas, and they're just not heard anywhere on the radio for the most part. So we can make that happen. You can help us and get cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines. We've got a new plan. We've also got the AMP-only Facebook group, but also a new plan to do some AMP after shows. So people really love it when we do after shows. So we're going to do those now at certain AMP goals, certain AMP fundraising goals. The first one being to hit $3,000 per month in AMP, which would be nice to get back above that number. We've been above 3,000 in the past, but it's sort of been faltering and slowly losing ampers over time, just because people have things come up in life. It's like something happened with your credit card number, or you lost a job and you can't, you just don't have the $5. So sometimes people drop off and we don't have enough people to replace them with. So if you've been thinking about helping Free Talk Live out, now's a great time to do it. We appreciate it. You can do it with credit card. You can do PayPal. You can do Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com. There's no other show that does what we do at the level that we do it, meaning on national syndicated talk radio. On over 100 radio stations.
I don't think there's
150.
another libertarian program that takes calls, or at least gets sort of the numbers of calls that we do. I mean, we're basically the only caller-driven libertarian program out there.
All right, so we're going to continue. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. We were talking about the DHS report that was distributed to law enforcement in Charlottesville, letting them know days in advance that there was going to likely be a powder keg exploding of violence right there in Charlottesville.
And it looks like if they did anything like that, they actually, what they did was intended to make it worse, not better.
The government. When you
That's
say
what
that.
it looks like.
3 days after this, according to Politico.com, that they're saying they're exclusive on this story. 3 days after the DHS report was distributed to law enforcement, hundreds of combatants, many of them armed, collided at the rally at Charlottesville's Emancipation Park, a flashpoint between the feuding groups since the city changed its name from Robert E. Lee Park back in June. After a day of violent street fights, a suspected neo-Nazi sympathizer allegedly mowed down a crowd of counter-protesters, killing one and injuring at least 19 others. In the ensuing hours and days, President Donald Trump's insistence...
It makes you wonder if they hadn't have, put these two groups against each other and had this little war, whether that guy would have ever done what he did.
Indeed. President Donald Trump's insistence that both sides bore responsibility for the violence turned the event into a political watershed, as many Republicans and Democrats chastised him for failing to condemn white supremacists more directly. Charlottesville police already have been criticized for their response to the rally, including for failing to show up in riot gear and for failing to deploy in large enough numbers to separate the groups, beginning with a torchlight march held by white supremacists the night before. Some law enforcement experts, when briefed on the report by Politico, said it reinforced their concerns about the response of law enforcement agencies in Charlottesville. James Gagliano, a recently retired FBI supervisory special agent, said in an interview, quote, "It is unconscionable that with so much advance notice of the declared intentions of extremist groups from the left and right vowing to descend upon Charlottesville, that law enforcement was not better prepared." He continued, saying, quote, "Stronger police presence as a deterrence and better separation between the two groups should have been part of the security plan." But according to Chris Cantwell, who has called from his jail cell, he says the police basically just let this happen, that they specifically allowed, after they'd been asked to clear the park of the protesters when they were supposedly issued a permit to be there exclusively, they being the white supremacists.
Or at least that was their expectation.
That was what their understanding of the deal was, and then they arrived to discover that there were armed opponents who were ready for a fight.
Right, and they didn't feel like that was fair, right, or just. And then, when people feel like they've been wronged, whether those people have reprehensible opinions on something or not, they're primed.
City and police officials have defended their actions, saying they did everything they could with the resources they had, but the sheer number of combatants overwhelmed their response. Some also noted they tried to shut down the rally altogether, but that a federal court overturned their decision to revoke the rally permit after organizers challenged it with the help of the ACLU. When contacted about the DHS report, federal, state, and local authorities told Politico they couldn't comment in detail, but confirmed they were aware of its warnings and had taken appropriate steps to prepare for possible violence. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to the story of the vendor, the hot dog vendor, which
this one's been blowing up Facebook.
Been in the news, been on social media, and for good reason, because there's some pretty outrageous video. Now, if there hadn't been this video taken by a bystander,
then
this would not be news. it would just be another innocent business person, another innocent entrepreneur, street entrepreneur, trying to make a buck to feed his family by selling some what looked like delicious food, some hot dogs and other such, munchies outside of some sort of University of Berkeley campus. And the video comes from the man Martin Flores, who happened to be out. He was an alumnus of the campus. The video shows a UC Berkeley bicycle officer citing a bacon hot dog vendor on campus and removing cash from his wallet.
Probably got reported by a vegan.
For operating without a permit. In the video taken by Martin Flores, UCPD officer is seen pulling cash out of the vendor's wallet and folding it into his hand. The vendor objects and then stands by as the officer puts the money away and begins to write a citation. We'll play the audio for you here in moments. In a statement released Monday, UC Berkeley Vice Chancellor Scott Biddy said vendors are typically given warnings before a citation and explained what prompted the officer to intervene. Quote, "We have instructed our officers to monitor illegal vending outside our event venues. This action has been motivated, at least in part, by issues of public health. The interests of local
They always use public health.
The interests of local small businessmen and even human trafficking." Huh?
Well, the idea would be that you see, they always
selling
trot
sex
out
slaves outside.
It doesn't have to be
football
sex
game.
Look, any job that somebody doesn't want to do, it's human trafficking. You know, the coyotes bringing people for a better life in the United States at ridiculous prices that some of them die in these hot boxes or whatever. Human trafficking. It's all human.
So the suggestion is that they're going to force him to work as a hot dog vendor at the UC Berkeley.
That's kind of to some extent what they're saying, yes.
I'm very interested to know more about how often that happens. How often you're going to put your human slave out on public display.
Lots of
that's ballsy.
Indeed it is.
Usually if you're going to have a slave, you'd think they're going to be like, on somewhere outside of a public display, maybe gardening on some rich person's plantation or something like that. You want them away from the public eye, maybe as a sex slave inside somebody's dungeon or whatever, but to just put people out on display where thousands of people might be nearby. I don't know.
So for you, what you're saying to yourself is that if I was a slave, I'd stop being a slave immediately. But the problem is that many of these people that are in these bondage-like conditions are there because of money. So if I bring you across some geopolitical line drawn on a map someplace and I say, that costs $10,000, cough it up, and you say, I only have $1,500. And I say, no problem.
You go to work.
We'll put you to work at an extremely low rate to pay off that $8,500, and then I'll do the accounting, and I'm a bad guy, so the accounting doesn't go the way you had hoped.
Also, another thing is, a lot of times, at least in sex slavery, when we've read about it before, is they'll threaten the slave, they'll threaten their family. So they'll say, look, we know you can run. Sure, you can run anytime, but we also know where your mother lives. And we'll kill her if you run.
Yeah,
and that's usually enough to keep the slave, not running away with one of the Johns, or in this case, one of the people buying a hot dog. But again, they're not alleging that was going on in this particular case.
No,
they're just covering their butt, claiming that this is a reason why. I mean, we're gonna crack down on these illegal vendors.
We don't hate poor Mexicans selling hot dogs. We hate sex slavery.
Yeah.
Right, that's the run to.
And again, as they say here, issues of public health, this is the big claim, right, is that, we got to have a government inspector to come out and make sure that those hot dogs, those hot dogs that were pre-cooked at the factory, that they've now been
already cooked. They're just being
reheated by this, Mexican gentleman, have been deemed to be safe. Look, let's get into this, because I think this is the major objection.
They did everything but call him a dirty Mexican, right?
This is the major objection to unlicensed food vending, is that somebody's going to get sick. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. So how do you answer that? Because what would happen without the government there? Would there be a bunch of food vendors poisoning their customers? 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, because that's what they want you to believe. Hour number 3 is coming up. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4,
when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 12th, 2017. Silver's trading at $17.85 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,329 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,357. Antiwar.com reports that Senate officials are hoping to get to a final vote on the National Defense Authorization Act, a military spending bill in excess of $700 billion. Getting to that vote, however, means dealing with all the military and war-related amendments to the bill. Senate leaders appear to have decided that the easiest way to get around this is to severely curtail debate on certain particularly controversial issues, with an 89-3 vote on Monday agreeing to limit procedural debate on the matter. Senator John McCain is trying to manage the debate, which is to say dramatically curtail the debate. There are still major issues to be settled, however, with Senators Rand Paul of Kentucky and Kirsten Gillibrand of New York both pushing major debates on war authorization and transgender soldiers, respectively. Senator Paul intends to repeal the 2001 authorization for the use of military force. That amendment is seen as politically awkward for some of the hawks, who argue that they want to create a new AUMF that explicitly covers current wars, but who are reluctant to see any limitations placed on the way America's wars are waged. That's the 2001 AUMF problem all over again. Though on paper it was intended to only cover 9/11 and the Afghan war, the authorization has been used by all presidents since as carte blanche to wage any war anywhere on the planet in which the term terrorism can remotely be applied. The fact that the existing AUMF clearly does not authorize many of America's current wars has meant that in practice, presidents have totally eroded what limited war-making power Congress still claimed for itself. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports, despite public and legal opposition to President Trump's pardoning of Joe Arpaio, former sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, the Department of Justice has formally endorsed the move. On Monday, the DOJ filed court papers requesting the criminal conviction against Arpaio be negated and the case dismissed. Because the president pardoned Arpaio before the judgment and sentencing, or before the appeals process could play out, DOJ officials said the ex-sheriff should not face any legal consequences. DOJ lawyers wrote in Monday's filing, the government agrees that the court should vacate all orders and dismiss the case as moot. Arpaio was convicted of criminal contempt in July after he continued to racially profile and detain immigrants without cause, despite a federal court order to stop the practice. Arpaio lost his bid for re-election in 2016. After Trump pardoned Arpaio in late August, Arpaio's lawyers requested the judge reverse the conviction and throw out the case. The judge declined to throw out the case or respond to Arpaio's request until an appeals hearing on the matter was scheduled for October 4th. A pair of legal advocacy groups have filed amicus briefs in the case, claiming the president's pardon of Arpaio was unconstitutional and undermines the power of the federal court system. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy on Monday provided a temporary reprieve for President Trump's order blocking most refugees from entering the United States, putting on hold a lower court's ruling loosening the prohibition. The full Supreme Court could act within days. The DOJ opted not to appeal another part of last Thursday's ruling by the San Francisco-based Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that related to Trump's ban on travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The Ninth Circuit ruling broadened the number of people with exemptions to the ban to include grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of legal U.S. residents. Without Kennedy's intervention, the appeals court decision would have gone into effect on Tuesday. Kennedy asked challengers to the refugee ban to file a response to the Trump administration's filing by noon on Tuesday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
George W. Bush may be retired from politics, but he's keeping busy with his new hobby of painting. Today, the Picasso-in-chief tweeted his latest picture, a turkey sandwich and glass of lemonade in front of the ghost of the Iraqi child that follows him everywhere. Rebecca Mera has been following the flourishing art career. He's pretty good, Rebecca.
Yeah, well, Rachel, Bush doesn't claim to be a great artist, but as he put it, not bad for an old man, huh?
Not bad at all. He says he likes painting simple things he sees in everyday life, like his dogs, that dead Iraqi child. You can see that Bush's art is improving over time if you take a look. At first, he could barely draw the Iraqi child's transparent hands, but now they look much more realistic.
Much more. You know, I'm not surprised that he's getting better. Bush practices constantly.
And Laura Bush says he's more focused than ever, locks himself away for hours at a time, and won't talk to anyone while he's painting.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if history will look back on Bush as a politician or the next Rembrandt. Up next, a study found that drinking red wine once a day can help the body get hammered.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you can dial in toll-free, bring up whatever's on your mind. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We're going to go back to your calls and thoughts. Then we'll play the audio from the UC Berkeley police officer citing an innocent hot dog vendor, just somebody trying to make a little bit of money to feed his family. He literally had money stolen from out of his wallet by this officer, and it's all caught on video. We'll play that with you or for you, and then we'll get you the update on the story, which is a happy one, thanks to the good folks on the internet. But first, we go to the phones to the fun, where you can call in to bring up anything you want. Dave is in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Hello, Dave.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey.
I wanted to follow up with you a little bit about a few different things that you guys sort of tangentially mentioned that I think maybe merits some more investigation. One was I guess when your guest from the jail paper or your co-host from the jail paper was on, I forget his name.
Thomas Parisi.
Is he one of the Chris's? Is he one of the Chris's?
No, it's Thomas Parisi.
Oh, okay. Now, he was on and indicated that there was something going on with some shadowy liquor enforcement bureaucracy running a bus and some stopping people or something like that. Were you on that night when he was talking about this?
Yeah, this was Friday. Was it Friday night? No, Saturday night. Anyway, it was this weekend when liquor enforcement was in town in a big way here in Keene. He had gone down there early in the evening and had spotted the liquor enforcement truck or van or whatever you want to call it, the big old RV that they've got that was parked in the downtown Keene area, and they had multiple undercover cars and undercover officers canvassing the streets, going into different bars and harassing people inside, demanding identification, observing the doormen, and seeing if they were following whatever the stupid rules are that the Liquor Commission puts on them to enforce their arbitrary edicts. And so then a number of us went out later on that night and, did some Know Your Rights outreach from copblock.org and, occupied the streets to some extent to help the students. There's always a fresh batch of students here every year.
And they're just basically a bunch of high school kids that don't know what the heck they're doing.
Right, to help them know their rights. So that's kind of what that was all about.
And there was an indication that a Keene police officer had lied to a student and told him that he was not allowed to videotape police. Is that correct?
Yes, I've actually heard that story from more than one student in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, that's not uncommon, apparently, for them to try to get away with that with people that they believe do not know their rights.
Is that number 2 or greater than 2? How many total have told you this?
2.
Okay. All right, so I'm just trying to find out. Like, I like to call into the KBK and other stations around the state and pass on these kinds of things that I hear. But I didn't really collect enough information from you guys talking about it before to be able to do that. And now at least I can make those calls.
Cool.
But it's also worth following up on here. The more you pay attention to it, the better the world is.
Yeah, and that's good work that you do calling those local talk shows. It's kind of one of your forms of activism where you're just bringing up important liberty ideas into the regular talk shows that people are listening to here in New Hampshire. You are not only bringing up liberty ideas, but you're also bringing up secessionist ideas, as I understand it. You're one of the big proponents of NH-Exit, and so I just want to say I appreciate your efforts there.
Well, I hate to be a one-issue caller, on these local shows, but it's such a great issue that it's like the answer to 50% of the problems you hear about on these radio shows. So I do tend to bring it up a lot more there than I do on your show, and it seems to be fairly tolerated, at least, maybe even welcome. So people are they're open-minded in New Hampshire.
Does anybody ever call after the fact when you've brought up secession on a local show? Do they call to comment later?
I'm not very good at listening afterwards, and most of the shows don't have archives.
I see.
So I do try to make a point of rushing back inside and getting logged in or turning my mute button off or something like that before they're past the next caller, but a lot of times I just forget.
Yeah, my experience has been promoting secession in New Hampshire that is very warmly welcomed by the New Hampshire natives.
I think it's warmly welcomed. I don't think it's taken seriously. Does that make sense?
Well, what do you mean it's not taken seriously? They're standing there looking at a flyer from an organization that's a real organization, and they say nice things and they smile and they like what they see. How is that not serious?
When I talk to people, I don't see them taking it particularly seriously. The notion,
right.
I like the idea of being able to propel myself through the air via my own flatulence. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That sounds like a really great way to get around and free.
You're right on track, Mark. It is not taken seriously yet, and I'm not asking for it to be taken seriously yet. And there's an advantage in that. I talked to John Sununu about it once. If you remember him from the Bush administration,
yeah,
and he used to be governor in
former
New Hampshire.
governor.
I got called into a show to bring that up, and he just had this friendly reaction. He was kind of laughing, And that's very normal for people to have that reaction. That's good. It's an improvement over the days when it was associated with Klansmen in the South, right?
Right. I agree. I mean, look, whether somebody's taking it seriously or not, if they're giving a positive reaction, that's all I care about, because we're at the stage in the secession game where we just want people to think about it. We want people to talk about it. We want to get those conversations started, and we want to get those gears turning in people's heads to where they can think about this, even if they don't think it's possible right now. They may think that it's possible later on down the line. Or later on down the line once they hear about it more, right? Like, so maybe the first time it's like, oh yeah, it's a neat idea, it's never going to happen. But then if they start seeing, state representatives talking about it, or it starts getting discussed on other talk shows, and they're hearing about it from different people in their lives, that's when it starts to be more of a well, maybe this is possible kind of thing. At least I would like to hope that that's the case. Dave, any other comments?
I'm done.
Thanks for the call. Dave Ridley there from RidleyReports.com.
Yeah, I think that the people that are pushing for New Hampshire to be sort of free of the United States need to have kind of a set of things that people need to understand. Like, first off, before a state can do that, it needs to flex its muscles and say, sort of put its foot down on a variety of issues. No state is going to just leave the United States without a set of grievances, like a long set of grievances.
That's easy enough to come up with.
It is easy to come up with a set of grievances, but are they being? Has the state put the grievances forward to the government, or does it? You got to look at the state as an organization as opposed to of us. Right.
It's definitely not us.
We have grievances against the United States government. But does the state of New Hampshire have grievances, long-standing and well-voiced and well-written grievances against the United States government? And I would say no, it doesn't.
Oh, I bet you could find some.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's got them. I don't think that people are prepared to say those sorts of things have happened.
Well, I would think that if the state is the people, and we know it's not necessarily, but at least in New Hampshire it pretends to be a little bit more effectively because we've got a very citizen legislature here with 400 state reps and 24 senators. So those people are more representative because just by the sheer number of them than any other state representatives in the rest of the country. In theory, they should be able to reflect the opinions of some of the people that they're representing, and a lot of people have legitimate grievances against the United States government. And if it's a grievance of the people of New Hampshire, it should be a grievance of the state of New Hampshire. If the people are having their money stolen from them by the IRS, if the people are having their money stolen from them by the printing press of the Federal Reserve through the inflation process, if the people are having their money taken from them and then sent off to wars and squandered in various other ways, killing innocent human beings around the world, these are all legitimate grievances.
Sure, and many people have some of those grievances you're referring to, but the problem is that the state itself is not petitioning the government on those particular
then you need
grievances.
to talk to your state representatives, Mark. Get in touch with the Liberty reps.
I don't particularly want secession for New Hampshire.
Right, well,
I want people to have the government that they want to have. I don't want to force a new government on them.
People like the idea of getting out from the federal government.
Some do.
I've done the outreach, and it's very well received. Very well received by people from New Hampshire. 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We're just getting the ball rolling on this. If you want to join us here, you can join us on the air. Free Talk Live.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio is a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with audio are just more convincing than print or digital. If you need local people, please contact this station. If you can sell nationally, I'd love to help. Free Talk Live is nationally syndicated on more than 170 radio stations, and we have a large and loyal podcast audience. Check out our packages at advertise.freetalklive.com. If you need something custom, contact me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-7740. That's 800-610-7740. 800-610-7740.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You are invited to dial in toll-free and join us on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, so join us on Skype at Skype username lrn.fm if you want to get on the radio and bring up anything you want to discuss. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Thinking about doing some Bitcoin mining? Well, you can forget about doing it probably where you live because the electricity might just be too expensive. It's way too much of a hassle to, have to deal with the technical aspects of
that thing.
Bitcoin mining and, to know what you're doing as far as building the hardware and configuring it and all that. It's just out of the reach of most people. Unless you go to pool.bitcoin.com, in which case then it's completely within your reach. As long as you've got some Bitcoin to invest in the process, you can possibly get some more Bitcoin out of it. Now, there's a handy calculator there that'll give you some idea of what you could possibly make at this endeavor based on what you are putting into it over at pool.bitcoin.com. They also have a 100% uptime guarantee. So get on over there and learn more about it at pool.bitcoin.com. Plus, if you are the type that does want to do it yourself and you've got your own mining rig, then you can also join the pool at pool.bitcoin.com. But it's mostly targeted at the people that just want to have somebody else do the work for them and just put some money into it. So check it out, pool.bitcoin.com. As we continue here, we'll share more of this audio, or we'll get to the audio, hopefully coming up here in a moment. But first, we go to your phone calls and thoughts. The audio is of the innocent, peaceful man trying to make a living by selling some hot dogs at the University of Berkeley. But we're going to go first to Skype. At least I think we're going to Skype. Sometimes Skype gets a little bit wacky. Hopefully he's there. Riley, are you with us?
I am here.
Excellent. We do have you. Go ahead with your thoughts.
So I want to talk about socialism because to me it seems like it's taking over the younger generation of people and a lot of the older generation as well, because they're addicted. Maybe not addicted, but they're interested in this idea of having the state take care of people and owning things. And it's bothering me because I don't like the idea of this criminal gang owning anything whatsoever. And it's starting to worry me a little bit, and I'm starting to wonder if people just want to be lazy and have everything taken care of for them. What do you guys think?
I like to use the example of domesticated animals versus wild animals. You can imagine, look, if you let your dog out the backyard, it's liable to come back, right? Like you let it out the back door and it's going to go do its business and, right. Maybe run around and bark at some stuff and then act free and then come on back in.
Time to eat.
Where the free food is, the belly rubs and everything that's wonderful. Now, by the way, you love your dog and you take good care of your dog. The state doesn't love you and it doesn't take good care of you. But it gives a sort of subsistence, and it's the same attitude. Whereas, somebody should be able to – your dog should be able to choose if it can take care of itself, should be able to choose to be free. The state doesn't allow that. You're a domesticated dog and you will stay here. You will do what you're told and, that sort of thing.
Or you'll get beat.
And the other dogs are all like, why in the world do you want to be free? It's all great over here in the domesticated land. And, some dogs are just born to howl,
Right. For me, it just seems like freedom is very important, and self-made men and women are becoming rarer and rarer as socialism takes over.
It's the nation, the human race will suffer as a result.
It's terrible. I mean, I share your concerns. It actually kind of echoes some of the conversation we'd had earlier today when we were recording your show, Anarcho Agenda. Where can folks go to download your podcast?
They can go to anarchoagenda.libsyn.com. That's ANARCHO agenda.libsyn, LIBSYN.com.
All right.
I do a mixture of short shows and long shows, and I mix in some Scottish stuff for fun. So.
We did like an hour-long interview today. It was great. That's going to be upcoming on your feed at some point in the near future. But it kind of echoes some of the discussion we were having today about the different types of people in the world, that there's the kind of people that want to be taken care of, and then there's the kind of people that want to take the risk of being able to live free and, be able to take care of themselves, or not having some sort of authoritarian group trying to tell them how to live. And it almost does seem like people are born one way or the other. I don't know if that's true. But I feel like I've always been anti-authority for as long as I have memories.
You don't have to be somebody who was born to howl at the moon in order to be a libertarian, though.
No.
You just have to believe that the people that were born to howl at the moon should be able to. Like maybe I like the belly rubs and the free food and all that other stuff. But that doesn't mean that I have to advocate for the government to say to everybody, you've got to follow all the same rules, because it's a one-size-fits-all solution in a world that desperately needs customization.
I see what you're saying, Mark. You're saying that you could have the opinion of non-aggression, that you could believe in the idea of the non-aggression principle, where you don't advocate for force to be used against your neighbor to subsidize some sort of way of life. But it seems unlikely that there will be too many of those people within the group of folks that want to be taken care of.
To this. I don't necessarily believe that your society, where nobody has to clean up their lawn unless they feel like it, is going to work. I don't know that that's going to work, Ian, but I think you should be able to try it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're probably an outlier, because people
that's who I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to the outliers. Hey, you stinking outliers, just because you don't think these people can do it, just because you think they're raving mad lunatics, doesn't mean that you can't let them do what they want on their property somewhere away from you.
But, that's a great point and everything, but I think most of them who want to be taken care of, they probably realize that they need the productive people around so they can be taxed in order to fund the programs that are taking care of those people. So it's very unlikely that they're going to share a similar viewpoint as you, and much more likely that they would share the viewpoint of let's tax these productive rich people and tax the productive middle class, and then just live as large as possible on that through government wealth redistribution. They don't live particularly
well. It's the government bureaucrats that tax us that live the best. Yeah,
they're doing real well. Riley, anything else you want to share with us tonight?
I just want to share that our interview will be out Friday, so be looking forward, everybody.
Great. Thank you for the call tonight, Riley. Appreciate it. You can join us on Skype as well, just as he has done. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. You do need to send a contact request over first. If you've never called on Skype, you send that request, we'll approve it, and then you're good to go from that point forward. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. Greg is on the line in New York. Greg, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey.
Hi, Greg.
From a practical sense, I think I've always said to libertarians that if you want to build your society, you should put your money where your mouth is and do it. And people moving to New Hampshire are, to some extent, doing that. Mm-hmm. People that are building cities in Honduras, maybe to some extent, will prove some ideas. But I think the biggest to date experiment has been in cryptocurrencies. And I really applaud the cypherpunks, is their name. Cypherpunks is the culture from the 90s, even, to reinvent what society can do and give more power to the individual.
I agree with you there. Stand by, Greg. We're going to bring you back. We can discuss that in a little more detail. Your calls and thoughts, welcome. Also, the crackdown on the hot dog vendor. We still got that to come. Your calls, welcome at 855, 450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free to bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And if you want to go to freetalklive.com and enjoy all the features there for free, you are welcome to do that. We can provide you with over a decade's worth of archives. We got a webcam that you can watch for free. A lot of the features you'll find for free at freetalklive.com. Those other talk show hosts in the business, they want to charge you for. So please go and enjoy and share over at freetalklive.com. And if you want to follow us a little closer, you can join the email list. Now, of course, we got Facebook and Twitter and all that. But if you want to get the latest information about Free Talk Live in your email box once a week, once a week, you go to freetalklive.com. There's an email sign up there toward the top of the page, which you can see there at freetalklive.com. So please go ahead and get signed up there as we go back to your calls and thoughts. Greg is in New York. Called about cryptocurrency tonight. Greg, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I've been calling in for years, and you guys know a little bit about me, but I haven't really told you what it is that I do.
I think you did. You're some kind of...
I thought you were a programmer or something.
Website developer, and I do know that you're excited about crypto, but go ahead.
Yeah, I am a web developer, but I also run my own company that I started in 2011 that has about 6 million people around the world using our apps.
Sweet.
In over 110 countries. Yeah, so... I really do want to make a difference, and I do believe in decentralizing power and empowering people and uniting communities. So I, so to speak, put my money where my mouth is, and we're designing a cryptocurrency also. But I don't want to really, talk about it on the air that much right now. I just wanted to talk about what is money and what is the value of money, okay?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I know you guys are... So, yeah, I know you guys are a little bit down on fractional reserve banking because the bank takes your money and then lends out more than is on reserve and so forth.
Yeah.
And, and you don't like when the government prints money either because you want what Austrian economics call sound money. You just want something that's sound, like Ron Paul. Here's the thing. I want to put your mind in a different direction, kind of the other way. Think about PayPal, okay? Think about all these payment networks like Venmo, whatever, right? You want to pay someone, you send these electronic credits through Venmo, through PayPal, whatever, in their internal network, right?
Right.
And to pay them out, they need to have money on reserve. So if they pay them out in euros, they need to have some euros on reserve, right?
Right.
They pay out in dollars. So these are actually very highly sophisticated internal networks that have reserves. They have reserves that they have to pay out to people, but a lot of the time, if it's just a dumb payment network, it right away gets cashed out. But as it develops more stuff within it, it starts to circulate within the economy, and you're not all the time cashing out your PayPal every day.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, people are sending and receiving PayPals, and they keep it in their PayPal balance.
I've had uncomfortably large balances in there before. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like if you look at this, a lot of businesses, they accept Visa. Visa is just another payment network. You don't cash out every day probably. You settle up like every once in a while. But if you can pay your employees in that, imagine if every community had its own currency locally, like the Berkshires in Berkshire.
Yep.
Okay? They actually have it. That could actually help the local community. This is why I really believe in it, because the local community, what happened to Detroit? How does something go bankrupt like the state of Illinois is on the verge of doing?
Socialism.
It's because, well, I would say, yeah, that's an ideological answer, but the actual
spending money they
answer,
don't have. That's how they went bankrupt.
You run
I got you.
out
Go
of
ahead.
money. Run out of money. The way that Detroit runs out of money is they run a deficit of dollars. Dollars leave the system because it doesn't have to be socialism. Automation, for example, makes one worker do the job of 10. As a result, the money goes to multinational corporations and out of the local economy. Okay? So what happens is that the local economies all over the place lose money. And in capitalism, you have to move around to where the money is next. You can't stay in your local community if it's hemorrhaging money. You know, you got a lot of towns these days that are emptying out. So, But if there was a local currency, that would be more freedom because the community would be able to run its own fiscal policy. If Greece was able to run its own fiscal policy instead of the big euro, you know, under the federal European government, they wouldn't run out of the drachmas. You know, they could.
But Greece did run its own currency prior to the EU, as did Italy, and there's a reason they joined. They joined because they were irresponsible. Like it's not that I don't agree with you. I get where you're coming from that standpoint, but ultimately, there's a culture of responsibility or a culture of irresponsibility. In what Greece and Italy suffered from was irresponsibility. What Detroit suffered from was the notion that, hey, we got all this money, we're milking these car companies, we're going to have money coming out of our ears forever, and then as the money slowly dried up, people are like, it's cold here and gross, I'm leaving.
Yeah, you could also blame socialism, and certainly you could point a finger at a lot of things. But I tend to say, even if you didn't have any socialism, you had tons of just entrepreneurship and no one ever redistributed anything, you would still have automation.
Yep.
You would still have different economies in different places. And because of that variety, freedom leads to variety. People have
some of them are going to be doing more prosperous, economies than others. That's certainly true. But I want to get back to your discussion here about the local currency, because I think there are a lot of people who hear that idea and they're going to like what they hear. They like the idea of buying local, even whether or not makes economic sense. In every circumstance is another question. Like if you're paying twice as much locally for the same thing, if you can get it from some other country, it doesn't make sense.
But people do it.
But some people do it. So my question is, like, the problem with the old local currencies. You mentioned the Berkshires, Ithaca Hour is one of the more classic examples that have had some level of success in getting businesses locally to accept the currency and to even, in some cases, pay out their employees in the local currency. Ultimately, the failure of those currencies, I think, is the fact that they're pegged to the dollar. I mean, they essentially are dollars.
Well, there's also the globalization. I mean, if you're if you're selling if you're a Honda, you're a Honda motorcycle and generator dealer, and you're selling Honda motorcycles and generators, you can't really sell people too many motorcycles and generators for Berkshires or whatever the local currency is, because
conversion.
Your margin is relatively small, and you're buying these things with the intention of selling them for U.S. dollars, so you can buy more to sell more and those sorts of things. And so,
right, because your vendor's not going to take the Berkshires.
Your local economy isn't going to produce washing machines, toasters, generators, motorcycles, cars, and all the things that people need.
So what I don't understand is, I guess what I want to hear more about is what you're proposing to change about a local currency, because right now, I mean, I can use Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency and get the benefit of keeping money in the local economy without having to have it only be useful locally. It also is useful internationally. Why wouldn't we want a currency that has the best of both worlds?
Okay, great question. First of all, I 100% agree with you. The problem that these currencies have is they're pegged to the dollar. They shouldn't be. The local economies are different from place to place, and different communities decide different things. So it's fine to print more or less of your currency and have an exchange rate that's not set by law, but set by the market. And also, here's what I think is the best of both worlds. Here's the problem with Bitcoin. And a lot of VCs are saying this now that used to love Bitcoin. Money is a medium of exchange, and it's also a store of value. And while sound money focuses on store of value, and that's great, when the money goes up all the time, you want to hoard that money, and it dries up the circulation. So no one's really...
So you're saying Bitcoin's problem is that it's successful. Hang on. Let's continue here in a moment, because I think Bitcoin has problems too. I wasn't necessarily saying it would be Bitcoin forever, but more on the way here with Greg. Your calls and thoughts also welcome here. It's Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. A crazy man announces plans to stand in a doorway and yell at cars. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Dennis Fife, an Alhambra, California crazy man, held a press conference today to announce his intention to stand in the doorway of the office building at 2600 Kenilworth Avenue and yell at cars all day.
At approximately 9:30 a.m. on the day in question, shortly after I finish lunging at dogs, I will proceed to the front steps of the Simmons building and yell loudly for 9 hours. The screaming will be broken by a 15-minute fit of rigid catatonia, most likely in the late afternoon.
Among the topics Fife plans to address during his 9-hour rant, the ace of diamonds, bookshelves, the man trying to kill him, plastic bags in trees, Trapper John M.D., and papers everywhere. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free, bring up what you want. Our number here is 855-450 free like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype. You are welcome to Skype in and join us there at Skype username LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget, Free Talk Live, brought to you by Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. You head on over there to victimlesscrimespree.com. You can watch Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. It's celebrating its 5th anniversary this month, and it is free to watch online anytime at victimlesscrimespree.com. Mark, is there an update on hope.freetalklive.com, the fundraiser for the Ugandan orphanage that we've been helping to promote?
Yeah, they're putting up the I haven't gotten a visual update. I'm used to getting those daily, but the manager over there is dealing with a very, very sick child who may have blood cancer. I don't know what that means. They probably have different terminology there.
Yeah.
I don't have the specifics, and I can't read the doctor's handwriting on the pieces of paper I'm getting. So I don't know.
That's not atypical.
Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, and I think they're writing in English. I don't know. There's words I understand sometimes, but either way, as right now they're putting up the beams to support the roof, and so we should have a roof update very soon.
What's the goal right now for fundraising? What are you currently trying to raise? Because you've been doing it in small batches over the last few months.
Yeah, we're right at finishing up. Let's see, should be. I'm going to call it 7,000 remaining on the 30,000 that we're going to in total raise.
7,000 left, and there's double matching of the funds. So if you donate $10, that's actually like $30 being donated. If you donate $30, it's like $90 being donated. So what you're saying is
that's from jax.io and getsell411.com.
Thank you for that. So what you're saying is, in order to raise $7,000, you need to raise a third of that, and then Jax and Getsell411
or something,
will fill in the rest.
Right.
That's doable.
It's very doable.
And
it's
folks,
because we've done it up to this point.
Folks can donate over at hope.freetalklive.com. There's multiple ways you can accept contributions, but ultimately it's being converted into cryptocurrency and then sent to them.
That's right. You're using Bitcoin. They understand that there. They have a way to convert that there.
Which it brings us back to Greg in New York, who's actually talking about cryptocurrency here tonight. But the idea of having a local cryptocurrency, is that what you're promoting here? Because I'm not real clear on how that would work exactly.
Yes, I would. So if you guys don't mind, by the way, I'd like to give out my email on the air in case anyone listening wants to email me if they're interested in this, okay?
All right, that's your risk. You're welcome to.
Okay, that's fine. It's my name, Greg, and my company's name, QBIX.com.
Was that Q is in question? QBIX?
Yeah, QBIX, Cubic, like Greg at Cubic.com.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been, thinking about decentralizing things for a long time. First we built the decentralized Facebook, so each community can have its own members, own its own data and everything like that. And then we said, why don't we add a currency to it? And that's what we're doing now. We're adding a currency to it. So how does it work, you say? Very simple. Each community, there's many communities out there. There's universities, there are religious organizations, there's all these things. And they would love to engage their members and have them interact with one another. So the way it works is the community issues the currency. And the currency could be either a decentralized one with 101 validators, and no one really controls it, or it could be on a server somewhere. But regardless, people transact, and the businesses start accepting this currency. So the question of why they start accepting, I can get into that.
Yeah,
But
that
more
was going to be my question. Why, accept yet another currency that in this case is only supposed to be used locally?
Well, so the advantages of a local currency is, imagine you go to a casino and you buy the chips, right?
Yep, that's a local
you transact
currency.
in those chips. Right, that's the local currency. How many times would you leave a casino without cashing out your chips? You might leave one for like a souvenir, but you're not going to use those chips outside the casino.
I think
right?
some people do in like Vegas, though. I think that there is a culture of using chips for maybe tips and things like that. So, maybe on the local level they might. But go ahead, make your point.
Okay, but you don't go back to New York and use them there.
No, you sure don't.
So, right, whatever is in Vegas stays in Vegas, and that's the point of the local community currency. Is that Detroit never runs out of dollars because Detroit bucks are circulating. And that unemployed plumber can go and fix your leak for Detroit bucks, and they can cash out the Detroit bucks for dollars through the Detroit bank exchange. And so the local currency improves the resiliency, first of all, of the local community because it can never really go bankrupt anymore because it always can't run out of its own currency. That's number one.
Okay.
That's a huge thing. And then, so that's why I like it. As someone who really wants to decentralize power structures, I want the local community to be powerful and not depend on FEMA to come in after a hurricane, something like that.
Yeah,
So
I can see how this is. If you don't peg the currency to the dollar, then you'll be able to find out very quickly how much services are worth because people will be willing to pay in these this new currency or whatever. And I can see the value, but one thing that I find difficult to sort of when I use these other currencies, and I use cryptocurrencies on a nearly daily basis here in New Hampshire, you can do that. So I can't kind of grok the value of a Bitcoin or whatever simply because I'm used to dollars. I was raised on dollars. I speak dollars. I understand dollars. You can hold dollars in your hands. In many cases, I'll spend Bitcoins a little more freely than I will dollars because they just don't feel quite as real, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And so all the prices should still be denominated in dollars. When you go to the store, you don't care how you pay the Visa, right? The Visa could have an internal currency that's like $1 trillion Visa bucks for $1. It doesn't matter. You pay in dollars, and the whole thing to you is in dollars. Here's the problem with Bitcoin and the problem with all these global cryptocurrencies. There's two. First of all, you're right. They are successful in achieving two things. First of all, let's give them credit. One is they achieve security. No one can take your money, and no one can prevent you from paying someone else. That's huge. Okay?
Sure.
That's huge. They also achieve anonymity. Zcash is a cryptocurrency with a zero knowledge proof system where so no one can trace who paid you. So that's great. Anonymity and security. But where they fail, the two things where they just terribly fail is, one, they're global. So they are not useful for local community. It's just like pegging it to the dollar. You're using Bitcoin. It's just another rare.
This is a good discussion. I want to keep it going. We're obviously short on time. I have another question. I'm sure we can talk about it on another night as well. But one of the issues is converting from one currency to the other. I mean,
it's hard. If you could get banks to just let go of their whole mind being wrapped around dollars, it'd be
that's
a heck of a
hard
lot easier.
thing to do. But for instance, here in Keene, New Hampshire, we have a Bitcoin vending machine. It's the only one in the region. You have to go all the way over to Manchester if you want to find another one. So, people will come here, they'll buy Bitcoin. But the Bitcoin vending machine is not a two-way unit. It only sells the Bitcoin. So there's not a real easy way for people to easily get out of the Bitcoin if that's what they want to do. If they have Bitcoin and they want to exit that and turn it back into dollars or something else, that's very difficult. And even if there was something available, there would always be a fee assessed to the individual who wants to move that money. So what is the incentive? Beyond what you're saying is that you believe that it would be good for the community. Beyond that, what is the incentive to the individual to utilize this theoretical local cryptocurrency?
Okay, so that goes back to something a little technical you can look up. It's called Gresham's Law. It's named after a guy, Gresham, even though it was known by Aristophanes in ancient Greece and everything. And it goes like this. The bad money drives out the good money in circulation. What is bad money, good money? What it means is everyone, when they have gold coins, right, they have the gold coins, but if they didn't spend them, they spent the representative currency, the paper one, because, first of all, it couldn't be used outside the casino or outside the thing. So you want to get rid of it first. Everyone wants to get rid of the hot potato first, and that actually drives out the coins. The coins are hoarded. The Bitcoin is hoarded, but you need a local currency to actually be a medium of exchange. And that could be inflationary. And that's where I wanted to make my point.
I'm
Bitcoin
interested in
can't
seeing
be that
somebody
currency.
try this. I mean, wasn't there one for like Iceland or hasn't this been tried where there's some sort of local?
I know people have tried to make local cryptos, specifically around like Colorado and the marijuana trade. I know that much has been tried.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to hear more about the existing experiments in this area. Learn about, what they've screwed up and, how it's worked out for them or not worked out for them, and then see how you're planning on doing things differently. Let us know how this develops over time, Greg. Definitely interested in hearing more, but we're out of time for tonight. There you go. Greg in New York. You got his email address now if you want to talk to him about it. It's Greg at Cubix, QBIX.com. We'll see you tomorrow night, freetalklive.com, and maybe we'll talk about hot dogs more then.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 12th, 2017. Silver's trading at $17.85 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,329 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,357. Antiwar.com reports that Senate officials are hoping to get to a final vote on the National Defense Authorization Act, a military spending bill in excess of $700 billion. Getting to that vote, however, means dealing with all the military and war-related amendments to the bill. Senate leaders appear to have decided that the easiest way to get around this is to severely curtail debate on certain particularly controversial issues, with an 89-3 vote on Monday agreeing to limit procedural debate on the matter. Senator John McCain Ukraine is trying to manage the debate, which is to say dramatically curtail the debate. There are still major issues to be settled, however, with Senators Rand Paul of Kentucky and Kirsten Gillibrand of New York both pushing major debates on war authorization and transgender soldiers, respectively. Senator Paul intends to repeal the 2001 authorization for the use of military force. That amendment is seen as politically awkward for some of the hawks, who argue that they want to create a new AUMF that explicitly covers current wars, but who are reluctant to see any limitations placed on the way America's wars are waged. That's the 2001 AUMF problem all over again. Though on paper it was intended to only cover 9/11 and the Afghan war, the authorization has been used by all presidents since as carte blanche to wage any war anywhere on the planet in which the term terrorism can remotely be applied. The fact that the existing AUMF clearly does not authorize many of America's current wars has meant that in practice, presidents have totally eroded what limited war-making power Congress still claimed for itself. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports, despite public and legal opposition to President Trump's pardoning of Joe Arpaio, former sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, the Department of Justice has formally endorsed the move. On Monday, the DOJ filed court papers requesting the criminal conviction against Arpaio be negated and the case dismissed. Because the president pardoned Arpaio before the judgment and sentencing, or before the appeals process could play out, DOJ officials said the ex-sheriff should not face any legal consequences. DOJ lawyers wrote in Monday's filing, the government agrees that the court should vacate all orders and dismiss the case as moot. Arpaio was convicted of criminal contempt in July after he continued to racially profile and detain immigrants without cause, despite a federal court order to stop the practice. Arpaio lost his bid for re-election in 2016. After Trump pardoned Arpaio in late August, Arpaio's lawyers requested the judge reverse the conviction and throw out the case. The judge declined to throw out the case or respond to Arpaio's request until an appeals hearing on the matter was scheduled for October 4th. A pair of legal advocacy groups have filed amicus briefs in the case, claiming the president's pardon of Arpaio was unconstitutional and undermines the power of the federal court system. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy on Monday provided a temporary reprieve for President Trump's order blocking most refugees from entering the United States, putting on hold a lower court's ruling loosening the prohibition. The full Supreme Court could act within days. The DOJ opted not to appeal another part of last Thursday's ruling by the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that related to Trump's ban on travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The 9th Circuit ruling broadened the number of people with exemptions to the ban to include grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of legal U.S. residents. Without Kennedy's intervention, the appeals court decision would have gone into effect on Tuesday. Kennedy asked challengers to the refugee ban to file a response to the Trump administration's filing by noon on Tuesday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Well, today was an historic occasion in Pennington.
That's right, Diane. The entire town turned out to honor Paul Webster, the area's one gay man, with Pennington's first ever Gay Pride Parade. Paul, a 33-year-old hardware store owner, was too shy to ask for a parade, but that didn't stop almost 2,000 residents from showing their support for his homosexuality. Mayor Sue Hallinan organized the parade and even chipped in some of her own money to pay for decorations.
Well, I was channel surfing one day and I came across a program about the Gay Pride. Next time I went to the hardware store, I said, Paul, we're going to throw you a parade. And he just said, oh, please don't do that. I don't want that. I beg you. He just didn't want us to go to the trouble.
He doesn't want to ride on the penis float. He gets motion sickness, so we're going to have him hold the reins instead. And Penningtonians have already decided on a fairy tale theme for next year's parade.
Oh, that'll be great.
And if Paul has a boyfriend, they can both be dressed up as kings.
Terrific idea.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Undefeated, 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 undefeated here and declare your independence from me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEAUT Full Studios.